Hey guys, good evening. I'm back again. It's a Wednesday. Now, like, share, and subscribe. Obviously, you guys know the drill. Welcome back to another Murder and Moisturize. Today I'll be doing, as I said last time, I think I reminded you guys a little bit. I'll be doing Broken Hearts, which is the documentary about the two Caucasian ladies that adopted a group of black children. I mean, where to start? It's a lot. These basically, you might have seen it in the news or seen it about. It's basically a documentary that was on Discovery Plus. So, I mean, if you've seen it, great. If you haven't, I'll tell you a little bit about it. It basically starts with the crime scene. Now, if you don't know the story, it's basically these two women have decided one day to put all their children in their truck and drive down this motorway that's on top of a cliff. And they basically drive themselves off the cliff with all the kids in the car. And when this actually happens, at first, when the police in the documentary, welcome Doreen, thanks for joining. In the documentary, it starts with Tom Allman, who is he was called in to perform coroner duties on the bodies, right, when they found the crime scene. Now, at first, they're all thinking it's an accident. So the documentary is all a bit of a mix, but it's obviously a little bit as well about the background of these women, where they came from and stuff like that. But all in all, it's basically suicide, homicide. They've had to basically say that something else had happened here and it's suspicious, right? So this Tom Allman looks into this, sees the kids. They find that it's only Jen in the car, which is one of the white women who adopted these kids, and Sarah, her partner. Now they're lesbian, right? So instead of adopting single children, their dream apparently was to adopt a group of kids, like I shouldn't say a group of kids, sibling groups is what they call it. So whether it's 1, 2, 3 siblings together, that's what they wanted, and that's what they did. So they actually ended up adopting the kids at certain ages. Now they had 6 kids. They've got Abigail, who was born in 2003. Then they've got Hannah Jean. She was born in 2002. Now Abigail and Hannah, they got them very young. I think Abigail was about 4 and 2000, yeah, Abigail was about 4 and Hannah was still a baby when they got them. So, and then you've got Marcus. So the whole 3 of those, Marcus, Abigail, and Hannah, are siblings. So they get the 3 of them first, and then they get after that. Marcus is born in 1998, so they were adopted from Colorado County in Texas, and the placement came on March 2006. So the children, apparently it got cancelled by a court in Harris County at first, and the formal adoption came in September. And then in June 2008, they also adopted another 3 children. Now, the other 3 children are Sierra, Devonte, and Jeremiah. So they adopt another sibling group, these 3 children. Now, little bit of background about these 3 children. These 3 children had a family, right? Had a family. The system actually failed these children. They had their auntie, biological aunt, their dad's sister, who was looking after them. But what had happened was she had custody for these children. One day, unfortunately, when she was out working or doing a bit of a shopping, the biological mom, who had a bit of a drug problem, ended up coming to the nan's house, the auntie's home, and visited her children, and she wasn't supposed to do that. So what happens then? CPS gets called. CPS actually turned up at the house to come and see the children and found the biological mom there, which is not allowed. So because of that mistake that was out of her hands, the auntie, she had to give up the children. Basically, they took the kids and told her she can't have the kids. before she even has a chance to fairly fight for these children, mind you, she's their biological aunt, right? Before she even has a chance to fight these children with her solicitor, they get shipped off to go live with these two white women, Jen and Sarah, who decided they want a sibling group. So they get shipped off to them, right? And then, you know, you find out that in the documentary that they weren't even actually looking after these kids properly. You know, these kids were being abused right under people's noses. It was just going on. In the documentary, it then jumps to Cheryl Hart, who's a co-worker of Sarah, right? And she says the day before, 2 days before they decide to, you know, ride off this cliff together with their children, she had a call. Sarah had to come into work, but she was expecting Sarah to come into work on March the 24th, 2018. Now, Sarah doesn't come in. She finds another manager there covering Sarah's shift. So she calls Sarah. They look for Sarah. Sarah now has sent everybody a text, apparently. Hey, Just the Tea, thanks for joining. Has sent everybody a text, right? And says, oh, I'm not coming into work at 3 o'clock in the morning. She goes, I feel sick. I've got to go to hospital, so I won't be in tomorrow. They thought that was odd because they hadn't heard from her. She hadn't been to any hospital. So the friends and co-workers, after they couldn't find her, call the police and say, do a welfare check, please, you know, at her address. So they go to the address, apparently, the CPS does. And then the police calls her back. Mind you, the same time that she's looking for them, they have actually left and packed up everything and left the address. So the police then find out that these people are on the run. So they call her colleague back at work and they ask her things like, do you know whether they're feeding these kids, whether they're looking after the kids? And she's like, no, I really don't know anything about that. But she's more worried about where is Sarah. And the police tells her that the house is empty. They've packed up, they've left, right? So the co-workers are now like kind of like taken aback, like what is going on? And then they explain to you know, they actually try to identify the kids at first, because when they find the truck upside down, basically in the at the bottom of this cliff, right in the ocean, they only find the two parents. I shouldn't say two parents, the two women that adopted them, Jen and Sarah, the lesbian couple, and 3 of the kids. Now, to identify the kids, they had to call the biological family. Can you imagine how stressful this was for everybody? Calling the biological family to ask them, how can we differentiate the children? So they get information like Hannah had, or was it Abigail had 2 front teeth missing, so they knew that was, they had her in the car. Then they found Jeremiah, who apparently had a birthmark somewhere, you know, little things like this. So they could identify, they only found 3 of the kids. Now 3 were missing. Devonte, the older girl, and Marcus were missing. So when they, oh, sorry, my phone is ringing at the wrong time. I think my mom's ringing me. Sorry, guys. And so, gosh, she's put me off my thoughts then. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so the police try to identify the kids. They finally do. And then it gives you a little bit of a background. Hey, Bobo, welcome. Thanks for joining. It gives you a little bit of a background as to what they do. I mean, as to how they used to treat the kids. You know, one incident where they went to a friend's house, right? And the friend is like, they ordered pizza. They all had something to eat. But the friend had noticed that Jen had given the kids small slices of pizza each, right? And the friend was like, why are you not feeding them? You know, was thinking, why is she not feeding the kids more pizza? She kind of spoke to Jen actually in private. And Jen thought it was fine the way she was treating these kids. Now, mind you, when they went to bed that night and everybody had that small slice of pizza, one of the kids had come down and ate the rest of that pizza. Now, the next day, apparently, according to the friend, they come downstairs and the pizza's gone. So Jen then, you know, proceeds to punish all the children. She makes all of them line up in military positions, right? You're straight, lined up next to each other like that, flat on the floor, on their back, looking up at the ceiling with sleeping masks on. Can you imagine? She makes them lie on the floor like some military training or something. This was more than just physical abuse. They were damaging these kids emotionally, mentally, psychologically, right? And it's like she made them lay there for hours on end. Now the friend witnessed all of this and pulled Jen to the side, but Jen decided that no, this is like, I think it's the right type of punishment. So the friend kind of let it slide. Now again, why are people allowing things to happen and then in hindsight want to say I should have helped these kids? Listen, if you were my friend or you invited me over for a dinner party or we had pizza together and you're not feeding, I'm the one topping up your kids' play. What are you talking about? I'm not waiting for you. Kids, you want any more? Are you good? Are you good? Are you good? That's usually how we do with my nieces and nephews or kids. You know, are you good? You're full? Yeah, yeah. Let's tidy up. Done. Well, how are you telling me you're giving the kids tiny pieces of pizza to the point where people have to see that you're not feeding your children? To me, that's disgusting. But again, we can't blame the people that were all around, even though everybody had their part. The main culprits were these two women, Jennifer and Sarah. So anyway, the investigators went a step further. Actually, they went and spoke to neighbors. Now this is where it gets interesting. The DeKalb family, their name is DeKalb, yeah. So they then explained to the police, to the investigating reporters and stuff, that Devonte used to come round to their house. Now he's been round their house begging for food. Basically, he's come round and asked for food. They've fed him numerous of times, but then when they ask him things like what's going on at home, what's been happening, he doesn't really open up to them. It takes him a little while, but he comes back for food. The woman gave him about 30 tortilla wraps, she said, but the boy came back the next morning, so that took her back, and she was like, what is going on in that household? So, oh God, you know what? As I'm here chatting away, because I really was into this, I did mention to you guys last week, I would be using the Fenty kit. I'll start doing some moisturizing, actually. I'm using the Fenty skincare line, as you guys know. I'm still using it. So, I mean, I really like it. I don't know about you guys, whoever's got it, but I really do like using it. I mean, I use the moisturizer every day. Especially because it's got this SPF in there for your skin, mind you. So I do enjoy using it every day before I go out for work and stuff. Keeps my face nice and moisturized, not too glowy either. But yeah, I'll continue. So as I'm cleansing my face, this is the total cleanser, by the way, guys. But yeah, so they basically, this boy was coming around the neighbor's house constantly begging for food. So then the neighbor realized that this is not a one-off thing. This is more than a child just being hungry. He come back and asked for 6 jars of peanut butter, people. 6 jars of peanut butter. So the Mrs. DeKalb said, this is just staple foods that they haven't got. So no, she needs to speak to somebody, kind of thing. So she tried to talk to somebody, and then there was another incident. She explained that Abigail, the little girl, had come over. Hannah had come over, right? And ran away from home, right? And ran to the neighbor's house for help the one night. Now she runs to the neighbor's house. They open the door. She runs into their home and runs straight to the bedroom, kind of like, looking for shelter, and asks them, can I please stay here? Can I please stay here? So they are shocked at this moment, thinking, what is going on, right? Then they hear Jennifer and Sarah and the rest of the children. Hey, Nurse Nerd, welcome back. No, you're very welcome. I like these type of things. We need to talk about these type of issues and have open conversations about them. I think it's very, very important to all of us, and educate ourselves on these type of things and maybe learn about the signs. We could always help someone, right? So, yeah. So then, as I said, she ran away to their home, looked for shelter, and told them she needs help, she wants to stay here. Then they hear the family looking for this little girl and calling out her name outside. So they open the door. Jen, right, mind you, Jen is the dominating force in the relationship. Sarah was very much somebody who would cover her ass, basically, is what friends and family and people have witnessed. They feel like Jen was the one that was more, was nice to the kids when she wanted those lovely family pictures, and was nice to the kids when she wanted to post stuff on Facebook. You know what I mean? Because she used to post lovely, beautiful pictures on Facebook. Google it. If you Google it, you can see her pictures anywhere. I might do share a page later on when I'm finished. She did some lovely images, and then she would put all these lovely pieces of writing. I mean, friends were like, who is this? Because sometimes it was so self-absorbent. Like, it wasn't even about the kids in the picture. It was always about Jennifer helping these kids, and, white women rescuing these black children that needed help, that apparently came from broken down homes and neglected households, and blah, blah, blah. When really, these kids didn't come from neglected households. They were not drug babies. This white woman, Jen, kept referring to these children as drug babies. She kept, spreading this narrative, right, to make people look at these children like these two white women were some two white women that were saving these kids, like some helping saviors. And it wasn't like that. But her narrative worked. Why? Because she was white. There is no way a black couple would be getting away with this type of abuse and people sliding it under the carpet. I mean, this couple was being investigated in 3 different states, but they kept moving from state to state to state to state, right? Hiding in, just thinking they can leave their BS behind in the other state and just move. And that's what they did, and they got away with it. Mind you, in the process, they're adopting children while they are out here moving from A to B and not letting nobody know where they're going, mind you. So while their biological auntie was still trying to fight for them, she don't even know where these kids were taken. They were just uprooted and sent to a different state to be with these 2 women. So that really got to me. But let me skip back to the part with the neighbor. His sister had run over to the neighbor, scared as hell, right? They then came over. Jen then explained herself to the neighbor and gave her a good explanation. The neighbor said she was good. She was very convincing. Whatever she explained to her, I'm not surprised if she said the kids were drug children. She said the child's got issues. It's not us. She makes up things and blah, blah, blah. And then the next day, they make this child that actually ran away to get away from them write a letter and apologize to this neighbor. They made this child write a letter and apologize to this neighbor. Can you believe it? It said, I'm sorry for doing that. I lie a lot. I shouldn't be lying and telling lies. I mean, it was awful. If you think about it, the psychological trauma this child would take away from that, the fact that these people who were supposed to be loving and caring towards her, right, were making her feel like she's a liar. But she was running. Devonte told the neighbors that she was running away from the abuse that night. She was trying to get away from Jen because she was being abused. Now, I've just cleansed my face, by the way, and then I'm going to use the fat water and tone my skin. Mind you, I try not to use pads. I did say that last time. I only use them when I'm here. Usually, I will wash off the cleanser, you see, but it's fine. Next time, I might bring a bowl and a rag and do it. But I like to do it with my hands, if I'm honest. So, Devonte tells the parents, obviously, the fact that they've basically been abusing the kids, right? And that they've been, how do you call it? Oh, that should turn. It clears up quite quickly, guys, so don't be afraid of the whiteness. And don't forget your neck, ladies, by the way. Yeah, I wonder that too, to be fair, Doreen, why they only had black children. And another thing is, why weren't they being checked? That's one thing I want to know. The biological, that's what really annoyed me. The black biological auntie, in their eyes, CPS, by the way, wasn't sufficient and well enough to look after these kids. Mind you, they were in a loving home where they weren't being starved, where they weren't, being abused and punished for things they hadn't done, and that's not their fault. They were in a loving home with their biological auntie, but because she was black, they didn't even they didn't even look twice for her. They never gave her a chance. But if you flip the coin, you got these two white women, right, yeah, who decided they want sibling groups. They got exactly what they requested, right, mind you. They got exactly what they requested. And then on top of that, you're abusing these kids with allegations left, right, and center. I mean, there was one allegation where Abigail, the little one, went to school and told the teacher that her tummy is ouchy or ow. Now, the teacher looked at her. The child had bruising all over her belly. Now, CPS again questioned them and asked them what is going on. They then confessed to the fact that they had disciplined Abigail by bending her over the sink and spanking her. So the bending over the sink is what marked her belly. Now, again, they then now get investigated. The police gets involved. Sarah takes the blame and says it was me, when all in all, all her friends and associates say Jennifer was the aggressive force. Jennifer was the more dominant force in that relationship. So there's no way Sarah would be abusing these children. So she would always stick up for Jennifer. So now she's been given, I think she was done for abusing a child, some sort of misdemeanor, and she was given 12 months community service and having to probation. I don't think she went to jail, but it was a 12-month probation or something like that. Now, again, let me try and bend my child over the sink and send her to school, right? Yeah, and see if the teacher doesn't notice when she's changing for swimming or whatever. Let me try and do that and see how quick they don't come and remove my child from my home. This is BS. How was this allowed to happen? I'm not happy with the fact that these kids were overlooked like that. Mind you, meanwhile, they're all over these states that they're staying at, like Portland. They were doing that march, the Black Lives Matter march, right? Where Devonte's picture went viral, where he was hugging the police officer. Right? I'm sure a lot of you have seen that. That boy is in this documentary. He's one of the kids that got killed. That was his family. Those were his siblings. So that when that picture got took, this woman and her partner, these two women were taking these kids from festivals to festivals, going everywhere. Mind you, they were vegetarians. So they were feeding these kids barely any food. And on top of that, they were vegetarian. So you can imagine how little these kids were getting. Like, my heart breaks to think about their bellies being hungry in this day and age in America. What satisfaction? What's this woman getting from that? I don't get it. These women should go to jail. They're not even alive no more. I nearly just forgot. But what a cowardly escape. Like, what a cowardly way to go. I think they probably felt like their world was going to end because everything was piling up and piling up and piling up. But mind you, while Devonte was begging the neighbors, he was begging the neighbors from March 15th to the 23rd. And the 26th is the day when they decided to drive off the cliff. Right? So the neighbors noticed that while he was begging them for food, Jennifer is posting on Facebook happy days, happy pictures with the family, how grateful she is for these children, how amazing their life is together, like all of that BS, basically, right? I'm now going to moisturize my skin with the SP30 included Hydra Visor Fenty Skin Moisturizer. It's an invisible moisturizer. It's very, very nice. And the products smell really, really good too. You guys should try it if you haven't already. So this woman is posting on Facebook while her child is out here begging for food. Can you imagine? The child's begging for food. So, and the fact that her partner, Sarah, let her get away with that and was watching her do this to the kid. Another thing Devonte told the neighbors is Sarah never used to go along with the not feeding the kids. Sarah never used to go along with not feeding the kids. She would always feed them some way or another. But nowadays, he said, even Sarah complies with Jennifer. You know, and Jennifer is basically telling her how to move around the house and not to feed the children. So, I mean, the attorney that helped, the auntie is in there as well. She apparently comes across an ad that shows that these kids have passed, you know, and she notices the names. She's like, hang on, that is my case. She was devastated to find out that the kids she was trying to get back to their biological auntie were treated this way. The fact that they snatched her away from family and gave them to these white women, random white women that weren't even checked out properly, checked on properly, and investigated properly when people have complained, and the kids have told stories every single time. Even the kids were trained to not talk about anything. They were like little robots. Friends and family have said they stated that these kids couldn't even, if you ask them a question, they would never tell you what's going on, because it's like they've been trained to constantly say the things that they were saying. You know what I mean? It's very, very upsetting. I mean, it carries on and explains a little bit about family annihilation. That's when somebody basically murders multiple members of their family in a very small in a very small space of time, a short amount of time, right? And this side. Hi guys, sorry, I don't know what happened. I've been updating my bloody laptop and it's acting up. I do apologize. Can you guys hear and see me? Okay. I'm still on, yeah? So, as I was saying, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll carry on. Sorry, that was a blip. I don't know what happened. I'm not sure what happened. So yeah, as I was saying, the family annihilation is what I was talking about. This psychologist said that people that usually commit that type of crime and annihilate the whole family is a lot of the time it's about what does she say? It's about the person, not necessarily the crime committed. So it's a very, I don't want to use the word narcissistic, but it's a very selfish move basically, and people don't do that so easily. The fact that she decided to take all of the kids with her is what's crazy to me. They could have just left and left the kid. Like, there were so many options, but you see what I'm saying? People want to commit the crime but can't face the truth. Why were you doing this? You had strength to punish these kids the way you were. I mean, look at the picture that I used as a thumbnail, guys. I don't know if you guys noticed how skinny the kids look in the thumbnail picture. I used that on purpose because Jennifer actually put that picture on Facebook, right? And you know, as she does, put some sort of message with it. But it's just the kids were underweight. At one point, CPS had ordered them to go and have a doctor's health appointment. Now, all the kids were taken to the particular doctor. And when the doctor checked them all, mind you, it's 3 and 3. So 3 siblings and another 3 siblings, 2 separately different families, completely different families, right? They were all found to have weight problems. Basically, they were underweight. Then they were all found to have no growth, very little growth for their age. So they were smaller than what they were supposed to be. And then the bone density as well. Like everything was minus than where an average kid is supposed to be. Do you know what I mean? So they even looked into that. And again, this woman would explain things away like the kids. She's pushing the narrative of their drug babies. Pardon me, they came from neglected households, neglected households. You know, all of this BS just to convince people that the way they look is because of them. They have food, eating disorders. They have issues with food and eating. So this is how she would convince people. And then, remember Chinese whispers? If I say it to you and then you say it to somebody else and it then spreads, then I can say, but they said the child suffers from that. They can see it too. So now I'm using you as a witness, even though I'm the one that has spread the bloody rumor. Do you get what I mean? That's what kind of Jennifer would do. She would put this narrative in people's mind, and then 100% it was all about control. Here comes Hector with all the good points. Welcome, Hector. But yeah, 100% about control, very controlling woman. Another thing Jennifer used to do is apparently she was in charge of, I think, a team of more than 30 people that played this online kind of World of Warcraft type of game, right? She would meticulously keep a log of everybody's scores. Apparently she checked how fast you finished the game, the rounds, all of that, and kept in touch with everybody to make sure they all played on time. They had a schedule of playing. So this one particular time, the co-worker Cheryl said Sarah was at the shop where they work and the phone had rang. Now Cheryl had picked up and it was Jennifer looking for Sarah. Sarah looked at the clock and said, shit, she forgot. She goes back in the office to speak to Jen, and then Jen must have given her a bollocking, because apparently when Sarah come out the room, she looked really different. And Cheryl had asked her, "Are you okay?" And Sarah said she forgot to do something really important. And apparently this is all Jen cares about. Jen said apparently that she'd rather kill herself than lose this game or lose the level that they're on and whatever. It meant a lot to her, this online community she had, on top of all the attention she was getting from Facebook, remember, because this woman was always about getting attention for herself. It wasn't about the kids necessarily. So even that picture that went viral, a lot of people that were there actually on that march in Portland didn't think that that picture was what it actually kind of took out of proportion in a way. It wasn't meant to be a moment of white cop hugging a black child. They felt like it was like he was crying out for help. These kids, for some reason, people have witnessed, when they hug people, they would always cry and feel very emotional. So it was very, I don't know, like if you look back and look at those pictures that are in Google and really look into that boy's eye, I wonder whether that child was crying out for, basically saying to us, please help us, please, get us out of this situation, or was it a genuine emotional moment? You know what I mean? I don't know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think. But the conclusion basically of the story was that they basically planned this. And when they looked into the car, this is what I found really, really interesting, actually. When they looked into the car, they said that apparently the car, basically they had these forensic guys that specialize the way that a coroner looks at a body and does an autopsy. These specialists, investigators, look at a car like a dead body. So they look in every nook and cranny, like everywhere, look at everything. Now they found that the speedometer apparently was stuck on 90 miles an hour. Now, when they looked at the brakes and stuff like that, the brakes were not in use. Everything was locked in the way basically the car come off the cliff. So this person was accelerating. They weren't, not at one point did this woman stand on the brake, right? Now, and another thing, I don't know if you guys know that there's another documentary that I think apparently that came out a year ago that's called A Deceit of the Heart, or Deceit something. I'll have to look it up in a minute. And it's about the Hart family as well. I watched that one and all just to get every kind of fact, because some documentaries show you different angles, don't they? And this one, actually, I'm glad I've seen it, because it spoke about how they looked forensically into Jennifer's phone. Now, they found that this woman, while driving, had Googled things like, how long does it take to drown in a car? How long does it take for a car to get underwater? What was it? How long does it take for Benadryl? And another thing they found, high levels of Benadryl in the children's body, in their children's blood. Same for them. They had all took high levels of Benadryl, so they concluded that the kids were most likely asleep or unconscious when they entered the water. But these women basically did that knowing what they were about to do. This woman was Googling suicide by drowning, how long it takes for somebody to die while drowning. I mean, she was Googling all sorts of stuff that they found on her phone, which they found, damaging, because it showed that it was intentional. This was not a spur of the moment thing. It's just horrible. It's absolutely horrible. This woman, the way she was posting on Facebook and the way they were treating these kids, it's just, it's awful. But the one thing I was glad about, that Tom Allman, the coroner that was sent in to do the body check on the bodies and stuff, he was determined not to have this signed off as an accident. He, in his heart, genuinely felt like this was on purpose, and he wants this to be noted as a homicide, especially for the kids. So what he then did was he requested a coroner's inquest. So they did that, and they ended up changing the manner of death to homicide, and these women intentionally killed these children after after not even being kind enough to give them a decent life. On top of that, you want to end their life in such an awful manner. They went straight to hell, let me tell you, while those kids flew up to heaven. That's what I believe. These women didn't deserve to live. So the best thing they probably could have done is ride themselves off the cliff. Because if they had killed these kids and thought they could get away with it, they had another thing coming, right? But the fact that they actually took all their kids, and the saddest thing is, mind you, there were only 3 found in the car. The other 3, one, the sea gave up. 2 of them, I think the sea gave up, and they were found weeks later or whatever. However long it took, right? They were found weeks later. But Devonte, they said, the sea never gave back. How sad is that? That boy's soul was forever lost in the ocean. Can we just keep these kids in our prayers? Like I said, this is just an awful thing, or absolutely awful. And the fact that, again, racism plays a part. This systemic racism, I'm tired of it. Why was that black auntie not allowed to get a second chance with supervision even, and then build up the trust again with CPS? Why? But these women here were allowed to have these kids, do that to them, and then still be out here taking them to festivals, using them as picture bloody opportunities and paparazzi moments, and posing with the kids like it's a happy family, when all we know, these kids weren't even fed for days on end. It just gets my blood boiling. It really, really does. These 2 women, absolutely disgusting. Honestly, it's absolutely ridiculous. You have yet to see Moisturize. People, can you just let Oblav know? Did I not just moisturize? My skin is glowing. Okay, I've moisturized nicely right now. I'm all moisturized. Thank you very much. But I'm not. Anyway, this was very, very interesting to me. I don't know. Let me just have a look through the comments. I'm going to drop the link if you guys want to join. You're welcome to join me and, have this open discussion about these issues. Like I asked, would you guys, as a society, what do we look out for? If a child's begging you for food, how far do you go? Do you allow them to go back? It's difficult, isn't it? We can't you can't just shelter a child and tell them, come and stay with me because you think you could look after this kid. There's a law. But then again, look how the law is failing innocent children that can't speak for themselves. It's just, I'm flabbergasted. Honestly. Welcome, Justa T, Bobo, Doreen, Slycat. Thanks for joining, Nurse and Nerd and Ablavi. Let me see. What are you guys saying? I wonder as well why they only had black children. I think the whole point of having black children was her, Jennifer, being so obsessed with the attention she's getting. Remember, they were playing the whole white women come to save Captain Save a Hole. Like, come on, you know, Captain Save her children, should I say. That's kind of how it came around. Like, Captain saving these kids, these two white women. Sadly, a lot of kids are abused worse in foster homes than they were in their home when they were removed. Yeah, and that's the thing. And the system so plays against everything. Hey, Nisei, thanks for joining. It's just the system goes against it, doesn't it? Oh, sorry, I didn't see you there. I was going through the comments. Welcome back.
Welcome.
So, yeah, carry on. I'm going through the they were allowed to get.
Ooh, I'm exhausted, but it's so hot over here.
Because the long history of racism in this country, they got black children because they knew it would be easier to get away with it. Yeah, 100%. I think so too. And the fact that it's like, woo woo them, you know, ooh, how nice is this? These two white women that have actually took on these black children. I could never, you know, that's how white people think, innit? I couldn't do it, but you know, good for you. Bless you, hon. Bless you. You know, when they're all at these festivals, everybody's into the idea, aren't they, Ablavi? They're loving it. They're loving seeing that picture of black children holding hands in a circle and kumbayaing. They love that, don't they? While the kids are wearing whatever they're wearing, it's all happy and giggles.
You know,
but nobody realized
I was talking to my friend about this. I was talking to my friend about this, that there needs to be a cultural aspect when you adopt children.
It's ridiculous.
Because I get so sick of seeing these children here with their hair not combed.
Not combed. Don't piss me off. Go on.
Not combed, not lotioned up. Like, it's just like, I don't like, yes, it's great.
They want the black kids as if it's an accessory, but they can't actually care and put in what the child needs when it comes to knowing their roots, where they come from, being proud of their afro hair, showing them how to moisturize it and make them feel good, you know, not try to copy the white girl hairstyle when yours is looking bushy like what? I'm just saying.
You on one today.
No, the kid thing is really just gets to me all the time.
Well, that's not the other one. There was that one woman, she was Hispanic and she was beating her son because she thought he was gay. I mean, it was ridiculous. What was his name? It was last year.
Well, don't tell me it was Gabriel Fernandez.
Yeah, Gabriel. That one was crazy.
That was awful. Absolutely awful. But what did you think about the fact that these women went from state to state to state? What is that about? They don't have a database they share, is what I found out in this documentary. They don't have a database
to share. It's the same thing like when they don't share databases even with teachers. So if a teacher sexually abuses a child in New York, he can go to another state and do it again.
Oh, thank you, Tira. She said I look good. Oh, thank you. You should tell Ablavi about she didn't see no moisture.
I didn't see no moisture.
We are moistured. Okay. This
were you moistured before you came on?
No. I did it. I literally just did it with everybody while I'm talking.
Oh.
That's what I do every week. But like I said, I'll be using Fenty Skin for now because as you can see, it is making me feel good. Okay. So, you know, I'm going to stick with this for now and see how the blemishes and everything clear up because I feel like everything is nice and brown. But Tira, what you said, what's the name? It's called Broken Hearts. Do you see what they did with the title? The family name is Hart. These women, it was Sarah and Jennifer Hart, H-A-R-T, not like your heart that's beating. Like
let's talk about the grandmother. This is
like Kevin Hart. It's Broken Hearts.
let's talk about it. It's unfortunate, but when you are...
No, you mean the auntie. She's not a grandmother. The auntie, yeah. She's the sister of their dad, basically, of the 3 black kids. But the other 3, they were more light-skinned, but they were black. So they had a mix. They had 3 brown-looking children that were black. And then they had 3 really light-skinned children, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, but I'm saying the reason why they probably pick black children is because it's cheaper to adopt black children than it is other races of children.
It's cheaper?
Mm-hmm. So,
are you serious? So even on the bloody adoption market, we're the cheapest thing going.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's disgusting. That is disgusting. And I'm sure white people would agree with that. That's disgusting. Do you see what I'm saying? What chance have we got here if everything is against us and our children? Now, mind you, if I would do that to my child, right? Imagine, like, listen, let me try and slap her and see if she goes to school, if it slips out by accident, see how quick they don't come to my house and investigate me and try and tell me, are you even looking after her? And you're beating her at home and stuff.
Well, a big reason they were able to do it is because the children were not in school, right? So that takes off a lot of the issues. And then too, with these children in school, I mean, these teachers, I wouldn't say they don't care, but they have a lot of kids and people slip through. But just looking at how skinny these children were, I don't understand why that, like, again, like these neighbors and stuff. Call me crazy, but I'm in every's business. I'm looking at how they treating their children.
I mean, this neighbor said, the neighbor said when she would see the Facebook posts of them in amazing pictures with snow and by the lake, she was like, I never saw these children. They never came out. When did they take these pictures? So when were they doing this? Were they making the kids come out and stand in perfect lighting and then put them back inside like a herd of cows?
Correct.
I don't understand. Like, they said apparently they never used to see the place. She said every neighbor we've had, the kids would be playing in the yard. They'd be out there like normal children. You would hear noise. 6 children, she said, and no noise.
They like the fame of taking care of the children.
100%. 100%, because this woman was posting their life every single day. Can you imagine being taken? My daughter won't even stand for a normal family picture if we're having a nice day. I have to beg her. But can you imagine being told, stand in this position and smile and just look perfect constantly? The pressure of that alone would mess you up in your brain. Psychologically,
they would tell the kids, if you don't stand, you won't eat. I'm sure.
Yes, 100%. Because these kids looked like they were having the time of their life. Ablavi, go listen. I'm going to share the page in a minute. You carry on talking because these kids were so happy.
No, I've seen the pictures, but I don't trust nobody. I don't trust nobody, and I don't trust when people try to sell me BS and tell me this, because the fact of the matter is, and this is why I'm not a fan of homeschooling. I don't understand.
That's another thing. That's another thing. They homeschooled the kids as well. They decided after a while, and then they would post pictures of first day at school while they're sitting by the lake and stuff like that. And it's like, stop lying. When were these kids doing these things? And the way they were so skinny, it's awful. Absolutely awful.
Yes, because they thought that they were having an orphanage like they see on television with all the little kids in what people call third world countries, and they were taking care of them. That's what they thought they were doing. They thought they were in Peace Corps. They thought, but then they were racist in nature and didn't like black people, so then that bothered them.
It was Jennifer more than anything, apparently. I'm not taking away anything from Sarah. I'm just saying, apparently she was the one that would be nice to the kids when she needed pictures. And then as soon as that moment was taken and snapped for Facebook, she would basically just be turn around and not give them no attention at all. At all. You know, it's just.
This is my biggest issue. If they wanted to die, you can die. Don't put the children there with you.
Yeah.
And then what I get tired of is that people's children do all this. Their parents should have been on the news and the disgusting thing, because this is ridiculous. that you got to sit here and find out who their people was, because they have 4 grandparents. How's your daughter taking 6 children and you don't say nothing unless you think what she's doing is great? Because you can't tell me they haven't done this around family or anybody else.
Oh, you mean the white lady's family?
Yeah.
To be fair, from the information that I found, let me just have a look. They said apparently they both were from South Dakota. I didn't really see much from their family. They went to the same, attended Northern State University, the both of them. One of them, what's it called? Before they outed themselves, apparently then their relationship was a bit of a secret on the university campus. Mm-hmm. And they, before they started adopting, though, they were fostering children, and they used to foster a 15-year-old girl. A week before their first 3 children were due to arrive, they dropped the 15-year-old girl off at the therapist appointment and informed them that the Harts would not be coming back to get her, saying that the Harts were not a good fit. So they basically got rid of that teenager because she didn't fit the bloody picture, and went and got those kids that they then got.
Listen, see, this is my problem with the news. This is even the kid who killed all those people in South Carolina. No. I don't understand why their parents aren't put on the thing. If your child is sitting here killing people, I should know who your people are. I should know what your mother, your father, your grandmother looks like, because that's your kid, whether you're for them or not. That's what I'm going to know. What were you teaching these girls when they were young that they thought what they was doing okay? Because you can't tell me they just got this idea out of thin air.
No. Well, apparently their idea of a perfect family was adopting this sibling group. That was their perfect idea of a family. Instead of going from one child to the next, to the next, to the next, they were trying to portray this. They wanted their perfect family to look like a group of kids that were siblings already. And that's what they got. I mean, they probably played the system a bit by being in the foster care already and then going from that to adoption. They probably favor you. They probably favor you, right?
Yeah, because there's a lot of kids. What is it? Something like 40% never get adopted?
Never. Yeah. So if you're already a foster parent and then you decide you actually want to keep some of them, I think it does work in your favor, and that's what they did.
But this keeps happening. I really do think they need to have a psychiatric analyst of people before they adopt children.
Yeah, yeah. Or I don't know, like, how often can you check up on people? Remember,
they're supposed to be checking up all the time. They get,
and what I'm saying is, as a government, can I just turn up anytime?
Yeah.
Can I?
They're children. Yes, they get, because they're until they're adopted. Now, when they're adopted, they're like,
you're welcome, children. Heidi. It's very, very sad.
But and the reason why and another thing, children, is they didn't want to go to jail.
Yeah, that's what everybody said. Like, they were gonna get found out. Again, shame is a killer. Remember, it's the biggest killer. Why do you think a lot of people commit suicide? Because they're embarrassed of people knowing maybe how bad their debt is, how bad their lives become, how much they're doing a certain thing that they're not supposed to. Shame is a killer. You are more scared of a human being knowing what you're up to when really, God can see what you do all the time. So, I don't even know why people care about people's judgment, but we do, unfortunately. We do.
She was upset that she couldn't. She saw the children as a prop, as a way to make money. Yeah. As a way, to have a little YouTube channel to make money. She thought, "Ooh, I can make money." They were a possession to her. And then,
what do you think about the fact that they drugged the kids?
Of course, they drugged the kids.
Yeah, because I don't think the kids would have just sat in a car accelerating.
They don't think what they did to those children was wrong. They really, truly believe they're helping those children, which is a big problem.
As in the 2 women that killed them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, I mean, why would you, after everything, I mean, okay, especially with the CPS stuff and whatever, every time they would investigate them, they would still leave them with the kids. Every time an allegation was made, they would still leave them with the kids.
Well, remember, it's underfunded.
It's like, why are we allowing, I'm tired of talking about the black and white thing because it's so obvious. You can't even deny it anymore. Right, Ablavi? There's no denying that because they were white, they got away with this.
Well, they did push into cultural biases that they had, and maybe that the children were not as in much as pain as they thought. You know, maybe they're overreacting.
They snatched those kids away from their biological auntie because unfortunately the biological mom had a drug problem, hence why the auntie was the one who looked after the kids. And with crack cocaine, by the way, because we all know in America that is a big problem itself, right? And the kids, they all had different biological fathers, by the way. Devonte, Jeremiah, and Sierra. And another thing they did, these two white women, they changed the kids' names, the spelling of their name. Now, Jeremiah was spelled Jermiah. They changed it to Jeremiah. So they put the E in the middle, you know, to appeal more to the white people, right? And then they changed Sierra, which was Ciera, which that's how her family had it on her birth certificate. They changed it to Sierra.
Yeah.
Like Sierra, whatever, the actress. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Miss.
Yeah. So it's things like this. It's like they just like you do Play-Doh, they wanted the Play-Doh, but they, you know, shaped the Play-Doh to be what they thought was what they wanted. And then on top of that, you're not even looking after the Play-Doh. You're allowing the Play-Doh to just sit outside the packet and dry up like clay. You understand? Hypothetically, that's what they did to these kids. They left them high and dry. Oh, hi, Wind Whispers. Welcome. I'm sorry, I'm just coming in. Could someone give me the rundown of what happened to the children? Yeah, well, basically, I was discussing this case called, this documentary on Discovery Plus. It's called Broken Hearts, and it's about these two white women who are a lesbian couple that decided to adopt two sibling groups. So they adopted 3 and 3 children, so they had 6 in total, and were abusing them all throughout, basically. And in the end, when they were scared of being found out because there were allegations against them, multiple allegations, they decided to ride off a cliff with the children into the ocean and killed them all. So it's a story of family annihilation, as well as, you know, the kids being failed by the care system, by the children's services, the kids being failed, you know, by schools, probably teachers that maybe should have kept an eye out after the child's telling them she's being bent over by the sink, bent over the sink and given a spanking. Ablavi, how long would you have to be bent over for your belly to have a mark? Let's just be realistic. If I bent myself over and you spank me, that's probably less than a 2-minute ordeal, right or wrong? Because you can just boop, boop, boop and done. How quick can my body mark? That to me, because you understand, this woman used to put these kids in positions for hours on end. Yeah. So I believe that's what happened. Like, what do you think?
I mean, I think she did hours on end. I think she did a lot of my issue more is the food rationing and all those things she did. I mean, that's because she was starving them. I'm surprised they haven't like passed out and had to go to
mind you, on Facebook they've got pictures of their fridge full of food, you know, and she'll put stories up about, we were at the supermarket till we were at the supermarket cash register, as you guys say, the till, and somebody, the lady at the till, had asked him, and she'll type up these conversations, you know, like she'll say, Jennifer, by the way, she'll say, we were at the cash register today, and the lady at the cash register, the cashier, had asked the little boy, How come you're only buying lots of fruit and vegetables? Why is your mum not getting any snacks? And the boy must have replied, I love fruit and vegetables. We are vegetarians. And then she must have said something like, you sure you don't want any snacks? Or your mum really didn't get you any snacks? And he was like, as they walked away, apparently he said to his brother, did she not see the kale? And then she put a statement, kale rules life or something underneath it. It's like,
but the thing
what
about
child is going to say, yes, please, give me kale, mom? That's like eating crisps or chocolate. BS. Okay. My child eats the best food. I always try and cook home cooked food for her. There's no way I'm giving her a bush of kale and telling her, here's dessert. I mean, come on. That's BS, man. You're not going to tell me vegetarian my ass. I don't care. You could be vegan, vegetarian, you could be whatever, right? You're not going to tell me a bush of kale.
This has happened to a white family as well. It happened
what, the starving thing?
It happened.
That happens.
It was 10 kids. They went to Vegas every year to renew their wedding vows with the children. Yeah. And the mother was starving them. They said the girl was 20 something and she looked like a 12-year-old. Like, so this does happen even with biological kids. Yeah. That's why I think I'm sorry, everybody shouldn't have children. And there's a lot of
100%. The same way, you know what? At first, I used to think it's harsh, these type of debates where people would say, they check us for driving cars. They check us for all sorts. Why aren't you giving us a license? I'm not saying license to have kids, but some sort of, if you've got a history, let's say your family, you've been brought up in a household where there was abuse. Now you're 16, 17, 18, 19. You decide to have kids again. I mean, as I just said it, I heard myself, just like the living on benefits thing we just did the other day. Look at that man, his own kids were having kids. So when that happens and you're already in a messed up household like that, right, where it's overcrowded, kids don't even have the space where their brain can just have a quiet moment. Even that in itself is kind of, I'm not saying abuse. You can have siblings, but for God's sake, a child sometimes wants a little bit of space, just a little bit of space for themselves. It doesn't matter. Like, so it's a little bit, what's their Facebook names? I mean, I'm assuming it's Jennifer and Sarah Hart or the Hart family, but I mean, I don't know if they're still on Facebook because I don't really do Facebook.
I want to know who their family is. I want to know whose daughters these are.
Well, I would love to inform you a bit more, actually.
I would love to know where they come from. I would love to see the town they're from. I would love to see it.
I just said that where they went to school and where they grew up. They were both from South Dakota. Originated from Huron.
But where's the family? Where's the mother, the father, the sister? I would love to see everybody. I would love to see, where are they buried? Did they give the children back to their parents? What's going on?
Oh, yeah. They spoke a little bit about that, actually. The fact that obviously when they classed it as a homicide, I think the biological family was contacted, but I'm trying to find out. And they never found Devonte's body, by the way.
That's horrible.
Yeah. He was declared dead in 2019, which made him 15 at the time, apparently. So, the sea never gave him back. What do they say? There's a saying when it comes to the sea.
It was 3 years ago. They were both from South Dakota, originated in Hart. Sarah's from Big Stone City. Jennifer Hart attended Huron High School. They attended the same high school in Minnesota.
Yeah. And then they started dating in university. But her family, it's Sarah Hart. Oh, hold on. It seems to just talk about them and her family, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
You're welcome, Heidi. It seems to just on Google for some reason. Maybe the family have. Can you do that as a family? If let's say my sister is involved in something, can I in some way protect myself and keep my stuff off of? Do you understand what I mean? Being affiliated with that.
Okay, here it says the Harts received funds from the state of Texas covering their children. Almost 50% of the family income was made of Texas funds. So they're on welfare.
Yeah. I mean, when you have foster or adopt kids, don't you get money for each child anyway?
Yeah.
They were making bank because all I know over here, you get a nice amount of money for fostering children. A lot of people do it for the money. A lot of people. Jesus. Because I think you get something crazy like, is it £500 a week per child? Like it's a good income for somebody who wants to. You understand what I mean? But yeah. I mean, if you're not serious about it, the risk that you're taking in actually like, you know, and I mean, the brothers had a brother, you know, what's his name? They had a brother that was left behind. And he actually was trying to get in touch with his siblings for a while. His name is Dante Davis, but he was the only one that wasn't adopted by Sarah and Jennifer.
Jesus.
How crazy is that?
Did he live?
Yes.
Oh, thank God.
That's him right there with his granddad.
Oh, okay. But he was a foster child, right?
He was a foster child as well. Yeah.
But they didn't want to adopt him.
Oh, that's his dad. They're outside their home. He didn't learn of their deaths until he was released from prison in October. Oh, here we go. So he was in prison till October 2018. So clearly you wasn't any help to your siblings.
No.
You're out here committing crime talking about I'm the brother that's left behind. You were committing crime? It's sad. It's absolutely sad. Well, they're saying that she was really, really drunk, though. Jennifer was drinking drunk.
I don't, again, if you want to kill yourself, you know, this is hard to say, but go ahead. I hate when they kill other people in their, you know, suicide. Like,
oh, no. Yeah, 100%. It's very, very sad.
Like, if you want to leave, I don't agree with it, but that's fine. But don't take me out in your time to leave. No. There's not a social media extended family fund with some cultures as there is with African American families. Why do you think that's Auntie stepped up? Can you imagine the pain that Auntie must feel? Because at the end of the day, she took her brother's kids in because she didn't want them to end up in a situation like this with the wrong people, right? But unfortunately, you know, the system favored these two white women and they just shipped these kids off to a different state. The woman had no chance to fight back for these kids because they're living in a different state. It's just awful. Absolutely awful. And they're always targeting the wrong people. You're not taking the kids away that actually need taking, that are here being sold by their crackhead parents. Let's be real. That's happening right now as we speak. Allowing them to have a go on your child, but that child ain't being looked at twice because they're just there being overlooked. But then you got these black children because they're white probably as well. Let me just be straight, okay? And then you've got your black children that one mistake she made by basically slipping up and allowing the biological mom. She didn't allow it. She left the house, but the biological mom knows where the auntie lives. She decided to come over and see her children. Now, all of a sudden, the children have to be, given to this white couple who did the worst they could have done to them anyway. What I wonder if there was no sexual abuse, right? They don't talk about sexual abuse in any of this, what I've looked into. So I think it was more about psychological abuse, control, not feeding them, beating them, and stuff like that, like getting drunk and beating them. And then you got the nerve to give these
kids, what is it called? Benadryl.
Yeah.
It's just, isn't Benadryl the drowsy kind?
In seeing the parents and seeing, you know, what's in their mindset to make them do this. And I find it cowardly when people die. Like, it would have been, just take your L. You was doing wrong, so go to jail. But they don't want that.
Yeah. But it's just awful. I mean, I wish they could have put them in the back of the jail, but you know what? 6 feet under is probably the best place they need to be. That's what they deserve. So at least, you know, the worst thing she did is take them kids with her. But between the two white women, I couldn't care less if they fell off a cliff. They could have locked the kids in the house and took themselves off that cliff.
No, that would mean,
you know what I mean?
They're selfish. They really do believe that they're their properties, and they need them even in death. That's what they believe.
Yeah.
I hope they're burning wherever they are right now.
But you guys, it's on Discovery Plus, or you can find it on like I shouldn't say anywhere, but it's out there on these streaming websites and stuff. So you guys should definitely check it out. Next week, I'll be doing another Murder and Moisture. I'll be looking into, I don't even know what case I'll be doing. I'll let you guys know on Monday, actually. I'll do a bit more research. I mean, I'll give you guys I think I might do a, what do you call it? A follow-up on the Valo case, actually, as well, sometime. And yeah, some of you guys, let me know if you guys still want to watch the first 48 stuff, because it's been really hard for me to get some episodes, but I think I might be able to get some again. So if you're into the first 48, let me know in the comments below. And yeah, thanks for coming. Thanks for joining. I really do appreciate the support. You know, stay moisturized, stay healthy, drink your water and all that good stuff. Thanks everybody for coming. Oh, go on, Sly Cat. You always got some good input. Let me see what you say. Okay, but this woman Jen would have chosen death for all of them. Yeah, 100%. But that's what the psychologists who was there actually said, that people who actually commit family annihilation, it's very much self-centered. It's very much about them and her choosing their faith rather than, you know, CPS choosing their faith. You know what I mean? Or taking control of the situation. So, yeah. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you to the new people. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so you don't miss another live. I'll probably be live again in the next couple of days, but let me know, like I said, if you're still interested in the first 48, because I really did enjoy that. And I'll catch you guys probably on Monday when I'll cover the 90 days side and see what Africa's saying this time. Let's see if they go back to Michael and we can see the state he's in with his bloated self. But thanks for the support, and I'll catch you guys next time. Obviously, follow my girl Ablavi, and on 3, you guys will say bye. So 1, 2.